Full.
Coming to you, Tosh. And you're gonna be full, probably?
I can take like 100,000 more.
Bro, really? Don't you want space for your own goodies as well?
I'll haul this stuff out probably later tonight. I'm mostly just getting blue loot and like.
Oh yeah, you have a lot of blue loot in there. You're gonna get rich!
What's up guys, and welcome back for another EVE Online video. As you may have seen in this one, I'm changing the format just a little bit. As I mentioned last week, I wanted to try and do a little bit of recording during our Monday mining ops, and this felt like the best week possible to start because we also changed up our Monday mining op. So as you can see playing in the background, this is going to be in the background for the whole video. Not going to be spinning my ship in the station in this one. And basically, I'll talk over it. You heard a little bit of comms at the start, but as it's in the background, I'll jump straight in. And this week, for our Monday mining op, we had an opportunity to do a little bit of wormhole mining. So instead of doing high-sec mining, we formed a fleet at pretty short notice, so really pleased with the attendance, but based on how short notice it was. And we got everyone into a shattered wormhole to do some mining. So the idea was, and again this is, the series may have strayed from the director stuff for a little while, but so what I want to sort of make sure we hit in this episode is the work that's gone in, like just so people have an idea of the work that goes in just to organising something like this, behind the scenes from officers and directors and stuff. And so basically, earlier in the week, we've been hunting for the wormholes we want to move into, and have been for a long time. As I mentioned last week, Hot Black has spent a month on his ult jumping around wormholes looking for specific holes. Taj has been doing the same. I've spent a little while doing it, but through that, Taj jumped into this C2 shattered wormhole nearly a week ago now, and decided that we should get some ops going. Like, this is a good opportunity. We'll get some ops going. So he parked his ult in there to keep a scanning ult, so that we could always have the entrance. And so then he spent the best part of a week in there. As I say, he's been doing a lot of solo play in there, which is awesome. But basically, so he's been able to make himself some ISK. But basically, with the chief intent that we want to go in for some fleet ops. Ideally to get our player base, including us as directors and officers, used to being in wormholes again, and used to that, the sort of effort and work that goes into a wormhole before we move ourselves back in. If we can build up that a little bit, then that's perfect. So if you're not aware, one of the joys of a shattered wormhole is you get really good ice spawns in them. They're called shattered ice fields, I think. They spawn. They have been affected by the resource changes as well, like all ice across the universe, so they spawn less frequently now. But there was an ice spawn in this wormhole, so a couple of guys have been popping in, because Taj has been scanning down the routes in and out, with Procurious doing a little bit of ice mining over the course of the week. But on Sunday night, we decided that if the ice was still there on Monday, we would move the high-sec mining fleet into the wormhole. Take some barges with us, risk the ISK, and try and get a good amount of ice out to do some fuel block production and that sort of stuff. Unfortunately, when we woke up Monday morning, the ice had despawned. That's just sod's law, and it didn't respawn. So we spent a while discussing whether we still wanted to go ahead or whether we just wanted to go with the normal high sec mining op. But we decided amongst us that actually this isn't this we like the ice op was for ISK and for the opportunity to make some money, but actually there's a really good opportunity here to get a fleet op going in a wormhole, and who cares about the ISK as long as you don't risk too much. It doesn't matter how much we come out with. This is a really good opportunity to get some good time on comms, get some, and get our members and ourselves used to wormholes again, being in a wormhole and using Pathfinder, having a properly organised fleet for this stuff. So we decided that's what we're going to do, and in an effort not to just throw ISK away on our first one, we got everyone set up with ventures. So just handed out a bunch of ventures because they cost next to nothing. And took in 3 porpoises so that we could haul a little bit. They're not a huge amount of ISK, but it's we're talking 150 million each. But if you just went in ventures, you'd spend more time flying back and forth in your venture trying to get the ore out than you would actually mining. So it's basically not worth it, and we wanted to do a boosted op. So risked the porpoises and went in with a security detail. We had people monitoring all of the entrance holes, cloaked up, monitoring them. We had, as I say, we had some T3s, we had some other cloakies monitoring, ready to be defense in the background. And we had one porpoise that was more or less dedicated just to hauling, and then 2 of us that were there to boost and to tractor and hold while the other person hauled in and out. And it turns out it was a hugely successful op. We had a really good time on comms. You can probably see in the background, or I have seen at some point, the numbers we had. That doesn't tell the full tale, because obviously anyone that's cloaked up or anyone that's not right next to us at the moment isn't going to appear on the overview. But we had 15 members in fleet, which, as I say, it was very short notice. We decided we were going to do this at about midday. Didn't actually tell anyone because I wanted to run it by our new mining FC, our mining commander, before we committed to changing it. So I chatted to him at about 4, and so he then, working with Tharge, who was in the wormhole, got everything set up and organised for 15 members to turn up in the wormhole, miles from home, but turned up in the wormhole for 2100. So was really impressed with the turnaround the guys could pick up at really short notice, because a lot of our members are brand new. So this was also really cool that we could demonstrate that we got some content. But yeah, we got a lot of new players, a lot of people returning to the game. So this was all just really good stuff to have in there. And as it turns out, it was quite a successful operation in terms of getting some ore out as well. So getting some ISK. We targeted Arcanor, Bisto, and Gneiss, so that we can do some manufacturing projects. And as I say, we got a good amount out. We were only in there for about 2.5 hours. I don't know exact figures yet because I haven't refined it. The trouble with high sec markets for these non-high sec ores at the moment is they're not really sold, because who is who's going down to Wormhole or null sec or low sec, mining a load of ore and then bothering to compress it and haul it all the way back up to high sec to sell it on the market when they could just reprocess it down at much higher yields down where they are. Alright, so on the market there isn't much of this stuff for sale, so gauging an approximate price for the ore is very difficult. So we have to go for the reprocessed goods, and I haven't refined the ores yet, so when I do that I'll have a better idea of how good a trip it was for us. But Looks like it was pretty good so far, considering we're all in ventures. Looks like it was a good trip. But I don't want to bore you with details of this too much. It does lead me into my plans. I mentioned this last week, but I am supposed to be putting together I think I mentioned it last week, an absolute new bros tutorial to wormhole exploration. There are some good ones out there, but a lot of the detail is sort of spread out, and I've had a request from someone to put this video together. So while we've got Taj in a wormhole, and I've got volunteers as well who are willing to help me out, we're going to go really detailed. I've put a plan together already, and hopefully we'll get this recorded in the coming week. But we're going to go really detailed to put together a New Bros wormhole exploration guide. It'll be publicly available for everyone to watch, but it's for the main intention behind it is for any new joiners we have that don't know how wormholes work, can check that out initially. And also the request has come from our allies down in Nullsec. Their new players have no experience with wormholes, and so having a guide on that as well will be really good. But as I say, it's what I'm trying to work out at the moment is we want to be really detailed, but only in elements that we think are relevant to a new player who's getting into wormhole exploration. So there's no point in me telling them how to go and run a C4 combat site. That's just not going to happen. But details like I will do a scanning video, how to scan down a wormhole in the first place. That should be relatively straightforward if anyone's done the starter missions, career agents, and then. But also all the way down to the detail of like the different sounds. That is all intel when you're in a wormhole. I think the sound and the visual effect when someone splashes into a wormhole, and things like that. The sound of someone warping out. I think you can even hear someone cloaking and decloaking. We're gonna go into all of that detail. So hopefully there'll be some information there for everyone, and I'm sure we'll miss stuff. Like I don't pretend to be the font of knowledge on wormholes, but hopefully this sort of basic exploration stuff we do between us will have some good knowledge, and we can share that with people. But because we're planning on going so detailed, it might get a bit long, and so I don't know if I'm going to be splitting it into several bits. But anyway, that's just me thinking out loud, and you guys have to listen to it, ha ha ha, unless of course you've chosen to skip, and I wouldn't blame you. But what else has been happened this week? Spent a little bit of time down in Nullsec again with Womp, running a little bit of diplomacy, which I'm not going to go into too much detail about because any detail, because it's not really for public knowledge. But that's been going on behind the scenes. Had some conversations and Discord and in chat channels and stuff. And I didn't make any notes this week. I have been doing some other stuff, but what is it that I've been doing? I mean, today, this isn't much fun for any of you, and it was selfish play. This wasn't for the corporation, this was for me. I started consolidating some assets, just some. I flew 51 jumps through HiSec to go and get a retriever. And then when I was over there, just moved some stuff around to get it all into one station. And that made me feel quite a lot better, just generally. My personal assets tab is way too long. It's got to be close to 100 stations in there. So just being able to consolidate 7, 8, 9 out of that in one area felt pretty good. And I'll start trying to do the same somewhere else on a day where I'm not doing very much and can just chill. We did... What else have we done this week? Some ratting in nullsec, trying to pad the wallet a little bit, because, as I said, targeting having a new orca by this time next week now. I've also got to get a nester, so that's expensive. I have put the wheels in motion to be able to bring you the C5 ratting fleet video as well, so keep an eye out for that. And I've also spent a bit of time this week. I got myself back on the recruitment train just a little bit, because partly because of the YouTube thing. YouTube has been my method of recruitment a little bit, so I felt like I was sort of cheating but was contributing in that way, but wanted to go back to pulling my weight a little bit from the recruitment front. So I spent a good amount of time actually running recruitment. We got some new members that were seemed like really good people. Pleased to have them on board, and it wasn't through YouTube, which is kind of exciting to recruit some people that don't know my voice. But yeah, so that went quite well, and so there's been a bit of onboarding with them, just chatting to them, making sure they feel welcome and comfortable, and getting them set up in the right places and things. So that's not been a huge amount of time, but it's always worth mentioning. It just takes a little bit. And other than that, it's actually been a relatively quiet week. I've not had a tremendous amount of game time, so I'm not going to bore you much further. But please do let me know if you like this new format of having the fleet in the background, especially when it's been a Wormhole fleet. I just drop a comment below. I would like to know, or whether you'd prefer not to have the distraction in the background and just have me spinning in a station. That's obviously also fine. As I say, not much to cover, so I won't take up any more of your time, and I will catch you all in the next one. Cheers.
There's someone in here.
Yeah, there is someone here someplace. But your rent is cloaked someplace.
Yeah.
And being that they are core probes, I guess it's...
They cannot find us.
no, well,
Alright,
can anyway, but they can't scan you down. I mean,
Not
you're
corporals.
pretty easy to find because you're in an open site.
Yeah,
We are in an open site, yes.
Yeah.
That's where the
So-
danger is.